Hello, I'm Andy Cocktaildress from Co-op Culture. Welcome to another of our short instructional videos for co-ops, community businesses and their development workers. In this series of videos, we're looking at key financial performance indicators and their role in helping us to analyse a co-op's finances. In this particular video, we're looking at the break-even point and its role in looking at what volume of finances, what volume of sales do we need to make to cover the cost of new overheads. So in the previous video, we looked at the break-even point, what it is, why it's useful, and how you can calculate it. And in that video, we were looking at the break-even point of an entire co-op or an entire community business. And we calculated it by dividing our overheads by our gross profit margin. In this video, we're going to look at the role of the break-even point when thinking about new spends, new overheads. What volume, how much do we have to sell to enable us to be able to do that new spend or new overhead? So the formula is very similar to the last one. Instead of dividing our overheads by our gross profit margin, we do the same thing with the proposed new overheads. Yeah, we divide our proposed new overheads by our gross profit margin. And that tells us how many sales we need to make to cover those proposed new overheads. So we're going to look at an example now. So in our last video, we looked at the break-even point for our friendly co-op. And we looked at, this is the existing information, this is what we looked at in the last video. We said that this co-op sold £50,000 worth of stuff, and to do that, it cost it £35,000. So we had a gross profit of £15,000. From that, we could calculate the gross profit margin, which is the gross profit, this cell here, gross profit, divided by the turnover, which gave us a gross profit margin of 30%. And then it had a number of overheads, wages, rent, insurance. So the total overheads were 12,000, and we calculated the break-even point for the entire co-op by dividing 12,000 by 30%, and we got 40,000. So this particular co-op is looking at moving into bigger premises because it feels like it's doing well. It made a profit of 10,000-ish pounds, and just thinking, oh, actually we're doing okay. Perhaps we want to grow, and it's looking at maybe moving into bigger offices. And currently its rent's £3,000 per annum. And in the new offices, the rent will be £5,000 per annum. Now, we have two ways of working out what our new turnover needs to be. We could look at doing this as the entire turnover. So we could say, well, actually, okay, the wages were still 8,000. The insurance was 1,000, so we need to sum that. We get a new overhead of 14,000, and to therefore, how much would we need to sell in the new premises? We could work out the total break-even point. So we could say the break-even point is 14 divided by that, which is not going to allow me because I haven't put a figure in there yet, but when I put a figure in there, it's 0.3. Make all those percentages, 30%. Yeah. So the new overheads, so the new break-even point for this co-op is £46,666.67. So it has an increase of £6,666.67 to cope with the fact that it is now spending £2,000 more on rent. The other way of looking at this is just to try and calculate what the extra turnover would be to cover the new overheads. So currently we have a rent of £3,000. The new proposed rent is £5,000. So the difference between those two is obviously £2,000. And what would be the break-even point on £2,000 at a gross profit margin of 30%? Well, it would be £2,000 divided by 30%. So we get £6,666.67 is the extra turnover that is required. So we would obviously then have to add it back to the existing break-even point. And we could do that with something like a marketing campaign. It's quite a good idea. Okay, someone has said, well, you're doing quite well, but you could grow, or you're going to actually move into these bigger premises. And now you need to create another £6,666 worth of turnover. You probably need to do some marketing. So we're going to do a marketing spend. We're going to propose a marketing spend of £1,000. How much does this marketing campaign need to enable us to sell to be able to cover its costs? Well, we just do exactly the same calculation. We get the £1,000, we divide it by the proposed gross profit margin. And so for the marketing campaign in and of itself to cover its costs, we have to generate an extra £3,333.33 worth of turnover. And actually, if we're using the marketing to be able to drive the turnover that's required to have the bigger premises, to move into the bigger premises, then the total extra costs that we have to sales that we have to be able to generate is both the £3,333 and the £6,666, which means that we have to generate an extra £10,000 worth of sales to be able to afford to move into our bigger premises and do the marketing campaign to drive our turnover. And that would cover the cost of doing those new overheads with no increase in profit or no decrease in profit. That means we would break even on those new spends. So that was this video on the break-even point. I hope you found it useful. I hope you found it informative. If you like this video, please click the like button. If you have any comments about this video or have any suggestions for future videos for this channel, please leave them in the comments section below. If you want to see more videos on all elements of co-op development, co-op and community business development, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification to be notified when we upload more videos. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.